Hello everyone, today I'm going to be talking about the easiest way that I've found to learn algs. So I've been learning ZBLL, I've been learning the U and T sets. I'm currently a bit over halfway through T, and I just thought that I'd share the method I've been using to learn these algs because I think it's a very effective method to learn basically any type of alg. So the first thing you're going to want to do is find the alg database that you're going to use and then pick your algs for each individual case. So the way I do that is I just go to what I've said I'm learning, so T, which is what I started with, and then I just go through each case and find an alg that I like, and then I just make sure I highlight it or whatever. Then I go through every case just doing that, basically just trying all the algs, filling out which one I'm most comfortable with. And then once I've got my list of all the algs that I like, then I go on to the second stage, which is basically kind of come up for a name with it, kind of a name for it. So, for example, with some of these cases here, you can see this is kind of a sneak peek into the next step, but you kind of give the case a name. So, I called this one F perm back headlights because when you get, or for example, this case right here, this is T back headlights because you've got headlights at the back here, and this case, if you were to twist the corners, would be a T-perm. And you can recognize, this is probably carries over from two-sided PLL recognition, and if these corners were twisted, you can tell from here that it's a T-perm, just from this pattern here. So you kind of can, I just chose to name my cases quite literally, but I know another guy who I learnt this method from, and he names his cases all sorts of abstract stuff. Like he has a case named like slate and one called like table and all sorts of stuff, right? So it doesn't really matter, just something that you can remember and something that you can associate with the case, just to help that association process, which is what at least I struggle with the most, to associate an alg with a case that you need to recognize. So the next thing is to write the setup for the case. So how I do this is once I've got my alg, I basically just keep doing it until I get the case set up. And then once I'm there, I do I just kind of solve it with the OLL that it is. So for example, in this example, you do like the T here, and then you see that you've got an RB perm. So then basically what you do is you get the RB perm, and then you remember that. So then you just do the RB perm, you do the AUF, so a U2, and then you undo that. And then that sets up the case again. Then you just go and you write that down next to the name of the case on your little piece of paper. And the reason I choose to do this on a piece of paper is because if you get like an A4 piece of paper and then you just fold it over a few times, you get it to like a nice small little thing that you can just chuck in your pocket or whatever, and you can just carry around. Because the idea of this, with this method, is that you can literally just take it anywhere with you with a cube, and then no matter where you are, you can just practice your algs. Like if you don't have anything to do, you can just pull it out and start practicing some algs, which really just kind of helps drill in those algs and make sure they're really in your muscle memory, which then gets up to one of the further stages. So once you've got out the setup, then you just write the alg. So what I do, I just start all my cases from here. So say for this case, I need to do a U2 to start the alg. So at the start of the alg, I'll write the U2. So U2, and then for this case, the alg's this. So I'll write down that alg, and I'll just write it out here. And usually, in most cases, you won't actually have to go through all the notation. I find it's still good to have it there. But for me, at least, once I see the first few moves of the alg, my muscle memory just kicks in, and then I can just do the rest of the alg like that. So that's basically most of it. And then, yeah, the next step's just to take it everywhere you go. Just chuck it in your pocket or whatever. If you don't have pockets, chuck it in your backpack, I guess. And just trying to take it wherever you go, and also take a cube with you. And then, yeah, just rather than maybe doing some mindless solves while you're out and about or whatever, you just practice your algs to really drill them in. Then next step is I find it's best to do in specific blocks at some point in the day to just drill the algs. So you just get this out or go on an alg trainer, and you just drill the case. So you set it up, and then you just do the case. and you just keep doing that over and over and over until it's like drilled into your brain, basically. And then once you're at that stage, and you've done that for 10 algs, I find is optimal. So you've done 10 algs and you've got them like drilled into your brain, you've been working on them for a couple of days, then I find it's best to go onto bestsiteever.ru, which you've probably heard of. It's basically the most common alg trainer that people use. And then you use that, you select all the cases that you've learnt, and then you press on recap each case once. And it basically just gives you a setup. You do the setup, and then you like cover the cube. So like I'll do like the setup, say here, I get this case and say add an AOF, and then like I just cover the cube, press the spacebar, start it, recognize the case, and do the alg. And then that's what your time is. And then you do that for all those 10 cases. I find it's also good to recap the old cases that you've already learnt, and you just do that. I find you can only really recap up to like 35 optimally, and then once you're at 35, then you just kind of stop refreshing the first algs that you learnt, and then you just carry on like that. And then you have the algs in your muscle memory. You've associated with them with the case. You practice them in a lot of settings, so you don't only remember them when you're practicing 3x3 focused. And you've got good algs that you like, and you've got a name that helps you remember it. So that's basically the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 step process that I use to learn algs, and I've been using to learn my ZBs. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps you.